Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of November 13, 2016. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a powerful week, and this week in particular is a lot about emotion rising, like the tides of the water of the ocean, and also very grounding and how our emotions can ground ourselves. All of that is on offer this week, and there's two big reasons for that. One has to do with Neptune. Neptune is standing still in the sky this week. Before the week is out, we'll start moving forward, but this is really when that Neptunian energy is especially pronounced, is especially magnified. Neptune has to do with illusion, it has to do with belief, and Neptune also has to do with faith, and faith when there's no evidence for it, especially. Now, here's the thing. Neptune standing still and gearing up to go forward. You add to this, Mercury's going to be speaking with that Neptune in tension. Venus is going to be speaking to that Neptune in harmony. This is a time when, in some ways, some truths are going to be undeniable. This is also going to be a time when it starts to dawn on us where it is that we haven't been honest with ourselves or others have not been honest with us. Some of this may very well play out collectively. We're going through some really big collective lessons right now. So some of this may play out in the collective and in the media in particular, particularly where the media maybe there's some beliefs, there's some feeling, there's a sentiment right now that the information we're getting is not accurate. Well, that is very much going to be coming to the surface, and more people are going to be looking at what that means for them as part of their own unique journey and as part of the collective as well. So that's one factor, okay? And it's a big factor. This is going to bring clarity. This is going to bring a sense of forward movement. This is going to bring a sense of really seeing where it is that we haven't been honest with ourselves and where it is now that we're ready to be clear, we're ready to move forward, and particularly with us, right? Particularly where it comes to where we've bought into any illusions. And this could be in any area of life, but wherever it is that we've seen what it is we wanted rather than what was, this is where it's going to start to reveal itself more and more. And this includes in other people as well. If there's someone in your life that you've kind of had a feeling is not being completely straightforward with you, this is where, as much as you would want to think otherwise, this is where that feeling is going to, take a notch up. If you have a feeling about somebody that maybe you're being hard on them and deep in your heart they're honest, this is where that feeling could very well step up as well. So that's a big part of what's happening this week. And then the other thing, of course, that has everybody's attention is the supermoon, right? Big full moon happening. I'm actually under the full moon right now. I don't think you can see it in the camera. That's okay. We're looking at the same moon together, regardless of where you are on the planet. And this moon is particularly close to Earth. And so when a moon, for example, the moon is one of our most immediate connections to the sky, right? I remember I had a friend who had a daughter, and the daughter, when she was really young, I think she was like 3 or 4 years old, and she saw me sitting outside on the balcony, and she came and she looked up and she started just talking to me about the moon and the stars and the air, and she started with the moon. And that tends to be the case for a lot of astrologers out there. We start by looking at the moon and we feel something. We feel something you could call magic, you could call emotion, you could call truth, but in some way it speaks to our hearts. And that is like the first call to astrology, I do think. But that's one of our most immediate connections to the sky, because it shines in the dark and it brings light, it brings to fruition, and it helps us to see that much more clearly, especially where it is that we haven't wanted to see, but that awareness has been building for a while. Considering how close the moon is, the reason it's a supermoon is because it's particularly close, which means our emotions right now are particularly magnified for all of us. Just like the moon is closer, is more magnified, our emotional energy as a collective is particularly magnified in our own individual journeys as well. Now, what's really great about this particular energy is that it is earth energy. It's happening in the sign of Taurus. It's speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto. This is going to bring a sense of groundedness as we are starting this week. I think I'm going to post this maybe 90 minutes. You'll see this 90 minutes after I record it. And this will bring a sense of grounded energy in the days to come. So right now, as I'm recording this, I'm noticing lots of heightened emotions starting to transition. If you remember last week, I was telling you about how all these planets were going to change signs, our feelings were going to change. We were all going to start to experience greater shifts take place for us as well. And now this is where things start to settle a little bit. And this is also where things start to take a much more grounded approach, but also our emotional energy, our hearts just start to feel a little bit more steady. Part of that is going to be based on understanding what it is that we can transform positively, and also where it is that we cannot. That's part of that Neptune connection there as well, is understanding where it is that we've put enough energy in a certain direction and where it is that we have not put enough energy in a particular direction. All of that is going to start to become more clear, but I really like the energy this week with this super moon, because yes, there's truth, there's cleansing, right? There's a sense of renewal anytime that there is a full moon that takes place. The moons in particular represented sort of, in some cultures, spoke to like birth, fruition, and endings, right? You sort of see that in the cycles of the moon. So this is the fruition cycle, okay? And this energy we're going to carry forward for the next 2 weeks is going to allow us to ground ourselves that much more. So please just be super patient with yourself. You'll be so glad for it. And additionally, I do want to mention that Mercury is going to speak with Mars this week. Mercury will be speaking with Mars. This is an energy where there's more of a proactive energy. It's a positive sign as well. I spoke earlier about media, right? With Neptune speaking with Mercury as well. There is that perception, but there's also a desire to create positive change and to understand what messages we want to put out, what messages we want to accept. I'm seeing this already, I gotta say. I'm seeing a lot of people on social media saying, okay, I need a break. I need a break from all this. Sorry, guys. I love you, but I got to take a break. And we may see a little bit more of that, okay, as part of getting in touch with a deeper voice within us. But I do think that ultimately these spaces that we create for ourselves online or in the real world are spaces that we create as part of understanding our truth and ourselves and learning to speak that truth that much more clearly. Well, thank you so much for watching this introduction. Now, I'm going to be posting this early and just the introduction. And now I want to talk a little bit about the election. And I'm going to weave in a little bit of my own personal journey as of late, because I'm out here again on my balcony recording this and recording it very last minute. I'm going to put up the introduction. After I record this, I'm going to take a little bit of a break and come back later on tonight, I hope, knock on wood, and do the actual horoscopes for you guys as well. So please be on the lookout for that. But I did want to get something out to you all. So it's been an interesting week for me. It's been an interesting week for all of us, certainly. And I've had a very interesting sort of thread and meditation going with what is transpiring for us as a collective, particularly surrounding this election. So I want to start with some reflections going back. Now, a lot of astrologers, we've discussed this. There were a lot of very mixed opinions around who would win the election. And there was a sort of a strong consensus that a lot of people were feeling, myself included, that Hillary Clinton would win the election, but she would not be sworn in. And she did win the popular vote, but of course she's not going to be the next president of the United States. And, I remember looking at the sky and thinking about what was favoring her. But the thing is that we participate in the unfolding of the universe. We are having a constant communication. And yes, there are certain spiritual lessons that we go through, but we choose how it is that we're going to manifest that. And a lot of the ways that we do that is through our emotional energy. I remember a long time ago, I had a spiritual mentor, a beautiful person, and I remember him saying to me that whatever it is that has your attention, whatever it is that has your full emotional energy, that is your higher power. That is what your higher power is, particularly in that moment. And that really, really had a profound effect on my understanding of spirituality and, of course, eventually astrology. To me, I do think that as part of a very deep soul urge, not necessarily something we're doing on a conscious level, but as part of a very deep soul urge, we are all moving towards a greater understanding of that energy that I like to call love and wisdom. People call it all kinds of things, the divine. Some people call it that within us that is most sacred, our higher selves, however it is that you understand that energy. What I believe that we're doing here as humanity and how we're evolving is to understand that energy within us and to magnify it more and more. Over the course of this life, yes, but most likely we're doing it over many, many, many lifetimes. So that's what it is to be human as part of our very deep soul urge, but we do it in very different ways, and we do it in ways that actually can create a lot of pain. So all of us, as part of our own unique journeys and as part of the collective, are moving towards greater love and greater wisdom, even if it doesn't look like that on the surface. It is part of a larger perfection that we are working towards. And that includes every single one of us. Even, you can imagine, people who've done really mean things, really horrible things, who may today. I was meditating on, and I think this is very like Chiron in Pisces right now, but I was meditating on prisons. Right? In prisons, yes, there are a lot of innocent people there, people who shouldn't be there. That's part of a collective conversation we're having. But another part of the conversation is also to consider those people that we really want to lock away. We don't want to look at people who do things that are violent, right? And also in our own lives, right? I think about it may be a different thing. Sometimes they interweave, sometimes they don't. But I, was also considering addiction. Addiction is something that ends up hurting a lot of people, not just the people who are active in their addictions, but sometimes can affect very deeply the people around them. But it's a spiritual disease, and it's called a spiritual disease, addiction in particular, for a reason. And I absolutely do believe this. I've seen a lot of people move through addiction and become stronger, become great spiritual people, because it was a stage, it was a part of the journey, and they were able to heal that, particularly in this life. They're the lucky ones. Some people don't. Ultimately, it is about understanding your own spiritual energy, and some people are able to do that in a way that's a lot more conscious than others. That does not absolve anybody, of course. I heard people say, like, what happened is God's will. I don't know about that. I certainly think that when I saw a year ago, and there was one candidate who ended up winning, getting the electoral votes. He was getting all the energy. I mean, just all the energy was pouring towards him, and he was getting the particularly strong energy. And that, to me, was certainly a signal that okay, all the energy is going to this person. Wherever the energy goes, it doesn't matter how you judge the energy. You might think this is a great thing that's happened. You might think it's the worst thing that could happen. And that doesn't really matter. It's where your energy goes that is affirmed more and more, that grows more and more in your life and becomes this higher presence in your life. And so I do think that a lot of people out there, when I saw more and more were giving all this energy to one particular candidate, and it was strong energy. Fear is very strong. Anger is very strong. But he was the one who was really getting all this energy. It just seemed more and more like, we as a consciousness, we as a collective are choosing to move in a particular journey as part of our unconscious move, of course. But again, that doesn't mean that I think one thing happening is anything more than a higher will than something else. I think that we choose and we participate. I think that this is a moment of transformation for all of us. And as we know, and I've been asked and I've refrained from, you may have noticed, I put up one small video about the election like a year ago, and I took it down within 24 hours because I realized that was giving energy in certain directions, and I didn't want to be a part of that. So, of course, no place, in particular a place that's very dominant in our world community, no one place going through a major change, a major shift. If that happens, it's going to speak to all of us in some way. The thing is, how do we choose that we're going to use this to move our own lives, and therefore, as far as our role, our individual role in the collective, how are we going to choose to help us to move towards greater love and greater wisdom? That is something that has to be chosen very consciously. And I think that's part of the lesson here. What I am noticing is a lot of fear happening. Pluto right now, we're moving towards the Pluto return of the United States. This is part of the fear as well that's happening right now. And as we are moving in that, in this direction of sort of understanding and purging, and going through changes, I think one of the lessons for us as a collective is to understand where it is that we have to choose peace, even when there is a whole lot of stuff to be very fearful about. And that is sort of the reality of the world, and more it is the reality of the world. Yes, there's a whole lot of stuff to be very afraid of, but there's also a real decision that we have to make where it comes to what is going to be our higher power, what is going to get the most energy, and a decision that we have to make in our own individual journeys, that we are going to choose a more peaceful path. And I think that this is also especially true for those of us who may call ourselves healers or light workers, however you understand that. I think of it as people who are committed to putting greater love and greater wisdom in the world. I think that this is an opportunity for us to have some honest self-reflection. I will be very straightforward with you. I think that those of us who are part of putting greater love and greater wisdom in the world, I think that what's taking place right now is showing us something about where we need to do better, where it is that we need to be more focused, and where it is that we need to commit that much more deeply to peace, and especially inner peace as well. That ultimately is going to show more and more. What's happening right now is that there's a whole lot of people out there who are not at peace. And when we can be conscious of that and know that we deserve to be at peace with ourselves and with our lives as it is, when we know that, we don't choose energy that is chaotic. And it is ultimately about energy. We as a collective, every single one of us as a collective, have manifested this situation. And I think a part of the reason that we've manifested this situation has to do with understanding our own resolve and our own commitment, and also understanding where is it that we are contributing to energy of fear, and where is it that we are creating a greater commitment to love and wisdom. Stuff can happen. I don't think it's right. And I'm going to share a little bit about my own personal journey, some stuff that's been happening for me, a little bit of reflection here. So as part of my own journey, what happened this week, it makes me smile now a little bit. But what happened is at the beginning of this week, I had to have like emergency dental surgery. And then there were complications, and I had to go back days later and have a procedure again, this time on both sides of my mouth. And I had a point where the dentist, an incredible dentist I absolutely love, Dr. Alejandro here in Cancun. If you're ever in Cancun looking for a dentist, let me know. He's incredible. But, you know, I kept feeling pain. He kept giving me anesthetic, and I kept feeling pain. And at one point, he had injected me 8 times, and both sides of my face, in my mouth. And he said, you know what, I'm so sorry, but I can't give you any more injections. It's not going to be good for you. So let me just work as quickly as I can where it's especially sensitive. And I said, okay. Of course, I said, okay, because I trusted the moment. So anyways, I'm there. And at this point, I can't feel anything like below my nose, right to my ears on both sides of my face. But I'm having a certain throbbing, painful experiences. And I'm there with this dentist, and, you know, I'm feeling all this water splashing in my face and machines drilling. And I had this insight. I had this thought. Wow, I think my throat chakra is trying to get my attention here. And so for those of you who know about the chakras, I think a lot of you do, the chakras are basically understood as energy centers in the body, where we where it is that our body and spirit connect, and our body becomes an expression of what's happening on spiritual levels. And it's a part of different ancient healing traditions. And so this understanding of chakras has become particularly popular because of yoga. It originates from South Asia and Southeast Asia in particular. We see this tradition going back all the way to those ancient cultures in that part of the world in particular, but because yoga is also from that part of the world, and it's sort of integral to this understanding of body, mind, and spirit. So in my own life, I like to, consider sometimes, and I hadn't been doing that. As I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, something's happening with my throat chakra here, and it wants my attention. And also because this whole week, because of the pain, I've been what I like to call hopped up on goofballs. I've been taking pain medication. And up until a little while before I did this video, I was in bed. I am hopped up on goofballs, and I said, okay, I really got to do this video. So that's what's been going on. If you've been waiting for a personalized horoscope, I'm so sorry. Please hang in there with me. I'm really hoping to be totally caught up in the coming days, certainly in the coming weeks, by the time we get a little bit later into this month. So we're looking at within the next week or so, I should be completely caught up. So if you've been waiting, especially if you've been waiting a while, I'm so sorry. Thank you for being so patient with me. Okay, having said that, so this was taking place, and of course we're going through this collective experience of the election. The first procedure was just before the election. The second was after, just yesterday, as a matter of fact. And I realized that, to me, as I considered my own life, and I was really trying to find what it is that I wanted to say about the election, because I, like a lot of people, have been feeling all kinds of things. I realized that it is about understanding, and what it is that we want to give voice to is what direction is it that's worth going in for us individually. And also this understanding while I was there in the dentist chair, and he's, working on me, and I'm still feeling it, everything. And I remember just sort of going in my mind and imagining peaceful spaces, right? Places where I feel very at peace and very connected to myself. And that was my epiphany moment. That was my moment that was like, okay, this is it. This is it. I haven't been choosing peace. And because I haven't been choosing peace, that is how I participated in manifesting what is a lot of fear among the collective. And so there are lots of rumblings happening right now. My hope for all of us is that we choose to go in a direction that, of course, is more peaceful. We're going to decide. And again, those of us, and this is myself included, I think that those of us who consider ourselves light workers, who are part of putting love and wisdom into the world, I think we need to, like I like to say, step up our game. We haven't been doing a good enough job, and the job really starts with us. If we are committed to putting love and wisdom in the world, what can we do right now, right now in this moment, to be a part of that? Well, I think I'm not saying be passive. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that if you're inspired to do something that you believe will create positive change, of course you can do that. What I am saying is that there is a state of spirit that has manifested in our collective material experience that is showing itself. And if we want to experience something different, then it really means that we have to go within a little bit more deeply and commit to that difference in our own lives, and let that be the guide to the change and to our actions that ultimately we take that create that positive change in the world. And anybody can be what we call light workers, or anybody can be part of putting love and wisdom in the world. It just really takes a decision. I think I'm going to stop there, but I do want to say just very quick announcements. I have some big events coming up. I'm ready to announce with this full moon. I'm so excited to share with you 3 very big events that are going to be transpiring coming up, just as they're doing nighttime construction in the back. I don't know if you can hear that. One is I will be in Istanbul later this month, the weekend of the 23rd of November. I am a featured speaker as part of the Astro Fun Fest taking place in Istanbul. What? I'm so excited. I'm super excited to be there. I just cannot wait. I know that I have ancestors who were Sufis, and I've, never had a chance. Well, I did study it quite a bit when I was in university, but haven't really had a chance to be to any of those sacred spaces. So I'm really looking forward to just learning about myself and who I am, my spirituality, and evolving who I have been, who we have been, and going forward. I think it's very well timed, but I'm also really excited about meeting friends and fans out there. So altogether, I have 2 talks that are confirmed, working on confirming a workshop. It's all part of the Astro Fun Fest. I'll try to share something out there, particularly on Facebook, and I'll try to send something out in terms of the newsletter in the coming days as well. But that's going to take place the weekend of the 23rd, and it is going to be before I go to Istanbul. All the personalized horoscopes will be caught up, I promise you guys. That's the first one. And I will also be doing a limited number of consultations. So if you are in that area and would like a consultation, please reach out to me through the contact form on my website, nadiyashah.com. And I will have a small number of books available, signed copies of my book for sale as well. So that's Istanbul. And when I'm there, I'll be doing the weekly, which I think will be in like 2 weeks. I'll be doing the weekly from there as well. The second is in Kelowna. Again, I'm just giving you guys a little bit of a heads up. It's the weekend of January 23rd. I'm doing a keynote address plus a workshop as part of a big event that's going to transpire out there. I will have that information for you guys soon as well. Really looking forward to being out in British Columbia in Kelowna. And again, small number of consults available. We'll have books for sale. A book signing is going to happen as well following the workshop, which takes place that weekend on the Saturday. And finally, in February, I will be in Baltimore. I'm going to be in Baltimore as part of the NCGR conference. More details to come. And that's taking place in mid-February. I believe it's the weekend of the 12th of February. I haven't seen snow in about 5 years, I'll tell you. And so I'm really looking forward. I guess, I don't know if I'm looking forward to it, but I've bought my boots and I'm ready. And I will be giving a talk, seeing, and have a limited number of consultations, selling books as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. I told you I was going on world tour, and this is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. And my hope is that as part of being open to the world, I can also be open to understanding love and wisdom and to sharing more of that with you guys as well. So I think I'm going to stop there instead of going on to more announcements. Check out webinars at synchronicityuniversity.com. Check out personalized horoscopes at nadiyashah.com. And it is always such a privilege. It's always a privilege to be here with you guys. So I'm going to get this up right away. Edit it on my phone right now very quickly and get it up. And please just be patient with me. I'm going to take a little break now. I'm going to rest a little bit. I sort of like got myself up and showered and did my makeup, which is magic. It is a magic process. But I did that and I got myself up and now I think I want to take a little bit of a break. And then I will come back for you guys. So please hang tight. The horoscopes for each sign are coming up. And I'm really grateful for this moment with you. You know, like I always say, my mission in the world is to affirm that the universe is wise and loving. I needed to be reminded of that. A friend and fan out there reminded me of that. And that meant so much to me. Thank you for the relationship that we have, that I have with friends and fans out there, that you have with me. It means so much. And, for me, astrology really is just the vehicle. It is just one vehicle with which to affirm the sacred truth in the world. And the fact that you are here, it means everything to me. It means that I get to live that mission. And for that, I am truly, truly so grateful. So let's go manifest something amazing. Let's manifest something that feels peaceful, that feels grounded. Let us allow this particular supermoon to remind us that our emotional energy is super and it is worth directing in a direction that we truly desire to go as part of our individual journeys, but also as part of our collective journey as well. That is certainly my prayer right now as I sit under this supermoon with all of you. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys very soon with the next video. And until we connect again, take care.